In this lesson, we're going to focus on the number line. Our objectives: understand how the number line is built, and understand how to estimate where numbers are on a number line. Our vocabulary: the number line, a straight line used to place numbers in order in increasing terms, meaning left is small, right is big. So as we go to the right, we get larger. First thing we want to look at is the basics of the number line. Most commonly for a number line, most people put 0 in the middle. Our most common number line is also horizontal. This can be made to be vertical. So what we have is we have 0 in the middle. We want to place some numbers on here. Well, we want to go in increasing order. So on the right here, we're going to go 1 because it's one spot away from 0. Then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can continue. Here, since we went to the left, this is opposite of the right. The way we do opposite in math is we use negative numbers. So, since we were 1 away, it's a 1, but since we went left instead of right, it's negative 1. 1, 2, this is 2, but we went left, so it's negative. 3, but negative. 4, negative. And then last is negative 5. And these can continue on forever. That's why we see the arrows at either end. We could continue with 6, 7, and so on. Negative 6, negative 7, and so on. Now, one thing to know about number lines is they're very malleable, or they can be changed to fit our needs. So here I'll make a quick number line. And one thing I want you to see is if we aren't dealing with any negative numbers, I wouldn't put any negative numbers on the number line. So here, if I wanted to, I could start with 0 on the left and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing can be done if there are no positives. We can focus on the negative side. Another thing that can happen is a lot of people think 0 always needs to be in it. If all our numbers are ways away from 0, we don't need to start with 0 or have 0 on the number line. So if we wanted to, we could have a number line that starts at, say, negative 10. And then we just get further, so we get negative 11, negative 12, negative 13, and so on. Another common misconception or common mistake is thinking that you can't have fractions or decimals on it. So our number line, if we wanted to, let's start at 0. Just to keep things simple, we'll do all positives. And here's a half, here's 1. So this right here is either 1/2 or 0.5, whichever way you're dealing with. Then we've got 1.5 or 1.5 and 2. So we can kind of make these number lines do whatever we want them to, as long as they're going in an increasing form. So the last thing that we want to do is we want to look at how do we estimate where numbers are. So what I have here is a decimal and 3 fractions. And we're going to estimate where these are on the number line. So to start, we really need numbers on here, in essence. We have a negative, so we're going to want some negatives here. Our smallest number is negative 1, is any negative. So negative 1.5 is obviously our smallest. So we're going to want to go smaller than negative 1.5. So an easy number that's further away would be negative 2. So we're going to have negative 2 here. And then we're just going to build up from there, and hopefully we'll have enough numbers to fit everything. If we don't, we can always extend the number line or renumber. We could count by 2s or 3s. We can count really by whatever we need to. So negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, hopefully this gives us enough room. So we're going to start with 3.2. Well, because of the 3 and because it's positive, what we know here is it's got to be between 3 and 4. Well, halfway is our 0.5. 0.2 is smaller than 0.5, so 0.2 has to be somewhere around here. So we're going to say that that right there is 3.2. Again, it's all an estimate. We're just going general. Is it smaller or bigger than a half? About where does it go? Okay, so we've taken care of that. Let's go on to 3/5. Well, 3/5 is a basic fraction. Basic fractions are between 0 and 1, or if they're negative, they're between 0 and -1. So this one is positive. It's between 0 and 1. 3, well, half of 5 is 2.5 or 2.5. 3 is bigger than that. So if we say that this is about halfway, 3/5 would have to be a little bit bigger because 3 is a little bit bigger than 2.5. So about right there is what we're going to call 3/5. Okay, now we have -1.5. Well, this acts just like it's positive. If this was positive 1.5, be between 1 and 2. Since it's the negative version, it's between -1 and -2. Well, a half is exactly halfway. So what we have here is, here's our halfway point. We're going to call that -1 and 1/2. Our last one that we have here is 5/2. Now, one of the problems with improper fractions is they're really hard to graph. A lot of people think 5/2, it goes at the 5 and then a little bit beyond. That's actually not true. If we change this into a mixed number, we have a better idea of what's going on. So, to change it into a mixed number, we take 5 divided by 2. We can use our calculator if we need a little bit of help. 5 divided by 2 is 2. And then to kind of figure out what goes on top, because we're always going to keep this, that stays. To figure out what goes on the top, what we do is we take 2 times 2, which would be 4, and we subtract that from 5. So this is 5 minus 4 gives us a 1. So this is really 2 and 1/2. So 2 and 1/2 is between 2 and 3. So I'm going to estimate about halfway. And this is 2.5, but we weren't using 2.5, we were using 5/2. So I'm going to need to call it 5/2 instead. Alright, thank you for watching this video. If there's anything you didn't understand or you need a little bit more help with, you can always rewatch it or bring your questions to class. Thank you.